Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Mariah Sincere. Welcome back to my channel. I know that I have been MIA, but I got a whole lot of going on, y'all. And while I've been gone, so much has been happening. Okay, there's still drama over the Epstein files. You had Tulsi Gabbard drop a bomb about Obama and Russiagate. You've had the immigration crisis exploding in the UK, and that is what I'm going to be talking about today. But for those of y'all who are new to my channel and don't know me, my name is Mariah Sincere. I am an American who is living my life abroad. As of right now, I'm coming to y'all live from the beautiful city of Medellin, Colombia. But I have an announcement. Next month, I will be in Mexico. So I will be out of Colombia for the last 5 months of the year. Okay. So I will not be here. I'll come back in January. But y'all, follow me on TikTok at ThePassportSis if you want to follow my journey in Mexico. What's up, Danny? How are you? I love watching this woman. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you. Yes, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Also, guys, I do life coaching. So for those of y'all who are interested, I talk to anybody, men or women, but I know what it's like to right now. Everybody's kind of going through a hard time. I'm not even going to lie. Everybody is, you have these mass layoffs going off on in the United States. I think a lot of people just feel stuck, stagnant, not in tune with their emotions. They have dreams that they feel like they can't accomplish. And I've been there, guys. I told y'all at the beginning of last year, I felt completely stuck, but I decided I wanted to change my life. And in 6 months, I did that. So if you need that type of help, if you need help working through a bad relationship, traumatic childhood, and you need a no nonsense coach, book me at thepassportsis.com, link in the description. Now, with that said, let's get into some things, y'all. So I'm kind of watching what's going on around the world. And what I will say is the past 4 years, really it's been going on longer because I remember this shift began in Obama's first term, and it really, like, I don't want to say it peaked during his second terms, but it got extreme, especially towards the end during his second term. Like this radical shift towards extreme, like liberalism. And for those of y'all who have been following my journey, then you know that when I was in college, I was extremely liberal. But I was liberal on certain things. Do you understand? Like, so I've never been the person that's like out on the streets marching for trans rights. Like, I've never been that. It's always been like an economic equality thing. And I'm not going to lie, a lot of that came from a place and a space of not really understanding how human nature and the economy works. So now, I wouldn't call myself a libertarian or anything like that, but I lean a lot more physically conservative. And a part of that came from me working in the school system and seeing how much government funds are misappropriated. That came from me seeing a lot of these Democrats in positions of high power complaining that certain programs are underfunded, but then at the same time you have ghost jobs, or you're money laundering, or you're stealing money and buying a mansion, and it's supposed to go towards the school system. And then it's like the more money you're throwing at the situation, the worse the problem becomes. I also started kind of paying attention to a lot of these people in these disenfranchised groups. I understand that we have a long history of many bad things happening in the United States. We also have a long history of many great things happening in the United States. And what I'll say is nowhere is a utopia. Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. There's good and bad in the history of every country and every nation. And just me being in Latin America, I find myself having to remind people of this. When they start calling the United States a colonizer, and I'm like, well, let's check the credentials in the history of your country because it's not that different from ours. Matter of fact, your country was established and was a colony, and was colonized long before ours. Y'all's country was ruled over by a European nation. Y'all had slavery in your country too. Y'all had to fight for your independence too. And even in your own countries, the inequality that you say exists within the United States exists to the extreme in a lot of these countries that talk bad about the United States. You have a lot of people who hate white people, and I'm like, take a DNA test, boo. Y'all were take a DNA test. Take a DNA. You can't call white people a colonizer, and you're mixed. You're mixed race. So what does that make you? Okay. So I don't play those victim Olympics. I don't. I really don't. Hey, what's up, Jamal? Good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while. Hey, Soul Tree. I haven't seen you either. Good to see you. America is a corporate colonial empire. There is no dispute about that. Uh, who if we weren't gonna do it, who else is gonna do it? Because let's be clear. Here's my thing. I don't like to cry about that. When I think about a lot of these countries again, at one point there were bigger empires than the United States on this side of the world. The Spanish Empire was huge. The Portuguese, they had their empire. This is the difference between the United States and a lot of these other countries on this side of the world. The United States was just smarter. They played it better. But even before the United States came into existence, let's be clear, there have always been empires. Even here in the Americas, you had the Mayan Empire, the Aztec Empire. You had people pursuing conquest here. Then we can talk about in Asia, we can talk about the Mongols, we can talk about the Romans, we can talk about the Greeks. So that's why I have a hard time when people want to make me hate my country. I have a very hard time because if you Okay, guys. Sorry, my internet went out. So Jamal says, I don't want to hear about what somebody else did or who did what, like America is the great Babylon. Don't nobody want to hear them. It's not an excuse. It's the reality. Here's the problem. Here's the problem, Jamal. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like you have the mindset, and it's not just you. Many other people have the mindset that if the United States didn't exist, the world would be a utopia, that everything would be good, that people would stop conquering, that people would stop fighting over resources. And it's just not happening. That's not the reality. And that is the problem, right? When you have this mentality, I hate to say it this way, but it is a victim mindset. See, once you accept reality and the way that things are, then you can predict what people are going to do and how they are going to move. And then you can hop up out of victim mode because you can prepare. You're always 5 steps ahead. But if you're always operating in outrage and what you think people should and would do if XYZ circumstance didn't exist, you're always going to be behind. You're never going to get ahead. And that's just the reality of the situation, Jamal. And honestly and truly, again, and I'm saying this as somebody who has traveled, I'm saying this as somebody who has talked to people, I'm saying this as somebody who has seen the realities that exist within certain dynamics. There are much worse countries to be colonized by and much worse cultures to be colonized by than the United States, if you want to call us a colony. Because part of the problem is a lot of these countries want to accept US foreign aid, but they expect us to give them the money for free. And the United States is saying, no, 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 we will give you this money under conditions. So whose fault is that? Is it the United States or the countries who are accepting the money? Because they don't have to. Okay, let's continue. So I want to get into the topic of the video at hand, guys. If y'all are just now coming in, please hit the like button. Um, so hold on. Yeah, complaining about things doesn't move the pin. Build your strategy and see your way through. Yeah, you can't affect change. You can't change the way people are. You can't change their nature. Only thing you can do is change you. You can only change you. And when you have that mindset, then you become solution oriented. You will forever be frustrated if you're trying to change the whole world and always operating in this dynamic of shoulda, woulda, coulda. Okay. So let's talk about what's going on in the UK. Now, guys, it's scary. It's scary. Now, again, I told y'all when I was a liberal, I used to kind of have that mentality. I used to hate it when I would hear people criticize the religion of Islam. And I think I was saying that I had that perspective being in the comfort of the United States. Do y'all understand? Like, it's easy for me to tell people don't criticize Islam when I have rights as a woman here in the United States. I can open a bank account. I can own property. There are laws against my husband laying hands on me and raping me. And whether or not you're going to get a fair shot trying those things in court, we can debate that. We saw what happened with the Diddy trial. But with that said, at least there are laws on the books against these things. And if you can bring forth enough proof and evidence, that person will go to jail. These are not, those are not behaviors that are acceptable in the United States. I can work in any field that a man can work in. So one criticism that I will give to, the red, I will concede to the red pill movement is that women in the United States have not recognized when they have won. Because we've won in terms of on paper equality. We've won. You'll never be able to combat misogynistic mindsets or men who just don't like women. You can't do anything about that. But on paper, we've gotten our equality. Period. There's nothing left to fight. There's nothing left to fight. So it's easy for me to say, okay, well, we should accept we should not criticize certain religions or cultures because I have my rights. But then I started listening to the stories of women that are in these countries in the Middle East. And I honor unalivings, honor what? So you like, at least in America, the United States, if you want to be a hoe, you have the freedom to be a hoe. People can't unalive you because you're a hoe. You try doing that in certain countries, and your own father is gonna unalive you. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Then I started learning. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he had this ex-soldier here, and he was like, "Yeah, there in Afghanistan, there's always like a neighborhood boy that takes it for the team." And I'm like, "What? Hold on, what does he mean?" Like, these men in Afghanistan will have harems of little boys that they grape. I'm like, hold on now. Hold on now. So the more I started doing my research and listening to stories of people who had been on the ground and seen this stuff firsthand, I was like, oh baby, no, I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to be anywhere in the vicinity of that place because they would put me under the jail. So imagine what the people of the UK are going through. And regardless of what people want to say, people can say the United Kingdom is a is a nation. It's not a identity. But let's be clear about the history of the United Kingdom. For a very long time, it's been predominantly Anglo-Saxon. You know, English people are white people. Everybody else was either imported or immigrated there or whatnot. And they are Christian. They have always been, for the most part, Christian for a very long time now. So when you mix certain cultural dynamics, you are bound to have trouble. And as a woman, I must say, I am horrified by the intensified rates of rape that has been going on. So let's get into it. I'm going to pull up this video of Nick Shirley. Give me a second.
Laura?
Yes, perdón.
Where?
You believe a civil war is on the rise?
A civil war is inevitable.
Okay, so here we got Nick Shirley. If y'all don't follow his channel already, you should. I love it. He gets on the ground and he goes and talks to people. And I love this because that way you're not just speculating. You can see what people are actually saying. So he goes on a lot of these protests. So let's see what's going on the ground there in the UK.
It will happen.
They're not asylum seekers. They've gone through 16 safe countries. They're safe in France. France isn't at war.
And how did you get here?
I get by boat.
By boat.
Yeah, from France.
Migrants are welcome here. Migrants, it's not their fault that they have to leave countries which are subject to war.
What do most people here in the United Kingdom think about all the migrants that are coming over?
Oh, no, they're a load of racists around here. They're racist. Too racist, man.
The United Kingdom has recently erupted, and the kingdom is not united. In fact, it seems to be very divided at the moment. Riots have broken out across the country. The police have made arrests on men and women for speaking out. And the major underlying issue to all this is the current migrant crisis and the two-tier policing inside the United Kingdom. In this video, I will show you what has caused the UK to erupt as I investigate and dig deep into the migrant crisis. I will be going to the start of the issue here in Dover, England, and I will be speaking with UK's most controversial man, Tommy Robinson. I will be attending the largest rally.
For those of y'all who don't know who Tommy Robinson is, he has gone to jail several times for simply for speaking his mind. You know, and what I will say is, yes, in the United States, there has been this, especially with liberals, especially during the Biden-Harris administration, there has been this huge effort to try to censor dissent. This is not up for debate. What's his name? Mike Zuckerberg came out and said that the Biden administration would literally call them for allowing certain things to be put on Facebook. So this is not propaganda. This has been proven. But like in the UK, they're literally putting people in jail for speaking up against illegal immigration. It's crazy.
in UK history and going to
Or
other
not
cities.
even immigration, because that's not even the problem there, because a lot of these people are not there illegally. The UK government has just decided anybody who comes here on a boat, we are letting them in without vetting, without knowing their history. As long as they show up on a boat, we're letting them into the country and we're letting them integrate into our society. So yeah, it's causing problems.
That have been changed due to the influx of migrants. And I will also be going to certain parts of London where migrants have
Sheila.
taken over parks as they have set up their own encampments. This is going to get hectic, and let's start by going to Dover, England. And why is Dover such an important city regarding the migrant issue here in the United Kingdom? Because here in Dover is where thousands and potentially millions of migrants have crossed the English Channel from France on inflatable boats coming here to the United Kingdom. And from Dover to the closest town in France, it is about 20-mile stretch. And once a migrant boat gets within 10 miles of the border of the United Kingdom, they are then intercepted by the Coast Guards and they are brought here to this pier here in Dover. It's a pretty...
Why aren't they staying in France? And that's what I'm saying. I understand the frustration of the people in England, because it's like, you have to cross so many other countries before you get to ours, where you have to cross a channel, where you have to get on a boat. Why won't these people let you come in? Matter of fact, there are other stabilized countries in the Middle East who share the same cultural values and religion as the majority of these people. Why won't they take them in? Even with the crisis that's going on in Israel now, I'm not necessarily on, I have a lot of criticism towards Israel about how they've handled that situation. But like, let's be clear, all the Saudi Arabia, Egypt, all of these more Islamic countries have straight up said, we are not taking any Palestinian refugees. Y'all figure out what y'all gonna do, because we're not taking them. But yet people try to call those who are in European countries racist when they are saying we are far too different for cultural assimilation. But people within their own culture or more similar cultures to them don't even want to take them. So who is wrong in this situation?
Migrants. Right behind me is a barricade that we cannot see where the migrants are at. However, we do know that this is where the migrants come in, and they are put behind this wall. And right over there on the other side, there are tents and buses that then take the migrants from here and they spread them out throughout the United Kingdom. And I'm also here with Brooker T. Jones, my mother, and she's going to be coming along the ride to see what's happening here with the migrant crisis. So how do the people here feel?
But I'm going to tell you why they don't want to take them. Okay. I'm going to say this as somebody who has lived in the hood. If I know Pookie and Ray Ray, we know Pookie and Ray Ray, they don't live like right across the street from us. I see the drama and the mess that you keep up. And I already got drama and mess going on in my household, or I done kind of stabilize my situation. If they get evicted from their house, I'm not going to offer my house to them. I'm not, because I already know how you do. You're going to go have to find somebody that doesn't know you and how you do and how you move to get them to have a pity party for you. Because I see the stuff that you do. I see that you be outside selling reefer, sitting on the steps. I know you got a son that don't want to go to work, and I'm not dealing with it because I already know how you do. So you have to go find people who are far more gullible that are going to take you in. It's the exact same situation. And the UK is effing around and finding out right about now. And you're right. The United States has been far too nice, and people have a sense of entitlement. People have a sense of entitlement. It just is what it is.
Feel about the migrants that are coming into Dover?
They don't like it, do they? There's too many coming over. It just ruins this town. It's ruined it.
And would you say the majority of people here in Dover and in the United Kingdom in general are very accepting of the migrants?
No. No one likes them.
What do most people here in the United Kingdom think about all the migrants that are coming over?
Oh, no, they're a load of racists around there. They're racists.
He has tattoos on his face. So this is a person that, to me, like, he's calling them racist, but like visibly I can see that you don't have standards and expectations for yourself. Because you don't even care. Do you have a job, sir? Do you have any skin in the game? Because you're walking around with a tattoo on your face. So I don't know if I too much care about what you have to say. And I know that sounds mean. We shouldn't judge people, but I'm judging. I'm judging here. Because, like, what type of behavior do you view as acceptable if you will walk around with a tattoo on your face? Okay.
Too racist, man.
What do you think causes all the racism?
Well, it's just England, isn't it?
I'm not a racist myself. So with that, they're coming over here. But
Wait, what
The
did
majority of
this hoodie
people
say?
here in Dover and in the United Kingdom in general are very accepting of the migrants.
No.
I didn't see his hoodie.
Well, it's
Hood
England,
rich. Wow. I seen all I need to see.
I'm not a racist myself. So with that, they're coming over here. But obviously, at the same time, yes, some of us are struggling. And when they come over here, they just get everything handed to them.
Can a person from the UK go to their country and get benefits? Can a person from the UK go anywhere in the Middle East and say, I'm poor, I'm struggling? Can I get some government assistance? No, they cannot. So why are we called just because they're white? Just because they're white. Just because they're white. See, let's talk about real racism. Just because they're white, they can't have a valid grievance that is rooted in basic economics here. Okay.
Because obviously they're the ones that need the help. But most people in Dover, you could go anywhere and ask anyone, they'd say they belong to go, they have to go back.
How do the people here in the town of Dover feel about the migrants coming in?
I don't know. I don't think they like it.
Why so?
Because they don't belong here.
And where should they go?
No, the tattoos on his face makes me question his judgment. That's what I'm saying. If you go get a tattoo put on your face, that means that you thought about a job and you thought about the way that people would perceive you in public. You thought about whether or not people would be clutching their purses if you walk by, and you said, F it, I don't care. And that makes me question your ability to reason.
Back to their country.
Why don't you like them coming over in your country?
Because most of them ain't working, you know what I mean? Like, they're just coming over and using all our shit.
How do you feel about the migrants that are all coming over?
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that they're ravaged by war? Because let's be clear, before the United States was even conceived of, they've been fighting. This is in every piece of recorded history and literature. They've always been fighting, always been at war, always trying to conquer each other, always graping, pillaring, and plundering in that region. So that is not the UK's fault. So it's their fault that they can't take anybody in and offer them assistance. But the fact of the matter is, you can't go there and get assistance. So the reason matters not. It's there, like you just can't. So why should countries that can afford to offer assistance to their people be demonized if if the people of that region are saying the people in our country are struggling and we don't have it to give to these nations that constantly choose to be in a state of perpetual war to the people of these nations, because this has been going on forever over there.
I think everyone deserves a life, to be honest with you. If they need to come here to be happy and have a life, then I think they should be entitled to.
And so are there like cartels or other groups that smuggle migrants into the border?
I'd probably say so, mate. So there's loads of them.
In the United States, we have cartels that kind of control all the migrants. Is there some sort of thing like that here in the United Kingdom?
I'm sure there is, but you don't see it. You don't see it at all. There's definitely help for these people or misinformation for these people pushing them towards us. But yeah, I'd say there definitely is.
To better understand the UK migrant crisis, I met up with Tommy Robinson. Now, if you do not know who Tommy is, he is known for being the most controversial activist in the United Kingdom, as he has no fear to speak his own opinion. The media labels Tommy as a far-right British man who is a racist, fascist, and meanwhile, others say he's a patriot to the United Kingdom. And after this interview, you will see how Tommy managed to hold the largest rally in the United Kingdom history. And now pay close attention to what Tommy says about the UK migrant crisis and comment down below what you think about this issue, because I think some of this information will shock you. What is happening here inside the United Kingdom with the migrant crisis?
The migrant crisis, we're losing our culture, losing our identity, we're being replaced. We feel like, well, we're becoming minorities in most major cities. We're being driven out of our own country.
Here's the highest paying remote.
And you know what? Let me say this. First of all, the name calling is not working anymore. Calling people a racist, a fascist, just for simply giving reasons why they don't agree with something, and being able to, again, go back to the basic economics, it's not working anymore. That was working in 2020. That was working in 2018. It worked in 2016. But what happens is when people see their material conditions deteriorate, when people begin to feel it in their pockets, then all of a sudden, these imaginary words that y'all make up and want to throw at people, they don't care. Call it. It's great to have all these theories and ideas that sound great and utopian. But when you put certain things into practice, it don't pan out the way that you thought or said or dreamed that it would. So people are tired of that and they want to deal in reality. And again, we can have this conversation. Some people are saying, oh, this is the UK's karma. This is white people's karma. But again, as a former history teacher, as a political science major, as a history minor, I took so many history classes in college. If you're going to say that, then Africa has karma because they were heavily involved in the entire reason for the slave trade. The Middle East participates and still to this day participates in the slave trade. You have China that participates in trafficking. I could read all these countries for filth, but we want to just focus on white people. Okay.
Job you can do from anywhere. No degree, no experience, and no social media following required. And you can do it in 1 to 3 hours a day.
Driven out of our own towns. So people are uncomfortable with it, but people have been scared into silence from me.
And here's the thing, if it was happening to you in your community, you would be pissed.
And having these discussions due to the fear of being branded a racist, losing your job, cancel culture, all these things prevent the public from telling the truth. I come from a town that's 30 miles north of London. When I was born in 1982, there was one mosque, there's now 45. Yeah. And 50% of the town is Pakistani Muslim. So I see the difference. I see the problems from hostility, the culture, the aggression, Islamic domination, all these things. So I've spoke about it, but 15 years ago, people didn't want to listen.
And where are the migrants coming from?
Everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So Afghanistan, Somalia, Eritrea, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, they all say now they're Iranian. They all have their one to say that they can try and get in. But when we say migrants, they say asylum seekers. They're not asylum seekers. They've gone through 16 safe countries. They're safe in France. France isn't at war.
And why do they come here to the United Kingdom?
Because they get a free house. They get given priority above us. They get everything above us. So British people, you can go into this town centre, you'll find English people sleeping rough, homeless on the street. You go to a hotel and you'll see it full of 100 Pakistani.
Isn't this what was happening in New York? Again, it doesn't become real until it's happening to you. I love Nick Shirley. He was on the ground in New York. You have liberals to this day that will still say that New York was not giving the migrants government assistance in food stamps. And like Mayor Eric Adams literally has went on TV and in front of the Senate several times and has confirmed that that's what they in fact were doing. You had people like Nick Shirley interviewing these migrants, and these migrants were talking about all the benefits and assistance that they were getting. That is why New York went redder than it's went in a very long time. Even though Donald Trump lost that state, let's be very, very clear. He gained a massive amount of popularity, all due to the fact that our governor in Texas, Greg Abbott, put that on their front door. But you had homeless people homeless New Yorkers who were being turned away because it's like there's no spots because we are housing all of these migrants that the Biden-Harris administration imported. And no, in Texas, we didn't have nowhere for them, baby. They barely got a place for a Texan.
Men who are getting free phone credit, getting given money every week, and then in a few years they'll bring all their families over as well.
So in the United States, the same thing is happening as well. They're bringing the migrants over, but our border is different. It's a land, and they cross over the United States-Mexico border, and then they get put into hotels, and they get free healthcare, they get free phones, they get free everything.
It's not a mistake. None of this is a mistake. None of it. Your borders didn't open at the same time of our borders. Every border in Europe opened at the same time. 8 million people come through yours. They talk about them. Literally, they took out Gaddafi. They opened up the floodgates to Europe by taking him out. And the migrants literally go 20 meters off the coast of Libya, and they get picked up by NGOs, which are funded by the German government, and then they get brought into Europe. And as they're brought into Europe, they come into our communities. They break down our communities. We're weakened. So And part of it is we're all looking and arguing with each other, our freedoms, all of our rights and freedoms. So it lowers the wage, which they like as well.
And so they're literally able to come through on boats here into London or here into the United Kingdom, and they're let here and they're let into society.
Not just boats, they come through on student visas. They come through so many. We let last year 1.2 million legal migrants.
1.2 million.
1.2 million legal.
That's a lot. That's a lot. The United States lets quite a lot in too, like that. This is a problem, y'all. And you can't just say this is racism. And again, I like how he brought up the fact that it's all connected. This all started happening at the very same time. World Economic Forum, I'm looking at you. But basically, you have these rich elites say, hey, we can basically import a population that is going to be dependent on liberals, because this is why this is a problem. It rigs the voting system, because when you import people and their entire status of whether or not they can or cannot stay in this country is dependent upon the liberals, then it doesn't matter that if their cultural values align with liberals or not. They're going to always vote liberal just so they can stay in the country. And then what happens is these people will have children, and the children might lean more conservative, but they're still going to go to the voting polls and they're going to vote for a liberal, because whether or not grandma stays in the country is dependent upon whether or not a liberal or left-leaning person is in office. This is why people were so confused when they seen this huge switch up with Latinos, not just the Cubans in Miami, but when they seen Latinos all across the board be like, oh, we've had enough. People couldn't believe that Latinos would vote conservative in mass. And that's because the majority of them come from very culturally conservative countries. The only reason why the Dems have been getting a vote from a lot of them has been because of the issue of immigration. But if you go into a Latino family or household and you talk to them, and you question them about their ideas on family, work, entitlement programs, they tend to be very conservative leaning. Sheba says, girl, the migrants, and this is Sheba, you live in New York, right? The migrants in NYC were living better than some lifelong New Yorkers, getting more money in food stamps and getting pathway to housing faster than New York citizens. You ain't lying. And I saw it. I saw it. These YouTubers were going on the ground. That's why nobody can ever make me hate the internet, because now these politicians can't lie and gaslight. And now saying racist, 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 it's not enough anymore. I'm proud of Chicago, but many of the Black professionals in Chicago have politicized the issue so much they don't even want to acknowledge the migrant issue as a problem. Yeah, but I will say in Chicago, I have seen them at those town hall meetings going in on the mayor. And then when Eric finally stood against them, they tried to get him out of there. Girl, they put those corruption charges on him so quick. He had no choice but to run to Donald Trump for some help. Okay. He wasn't.
This isn't a very big
that.
land. Like the United Kingdom is pretty small.
6 million people.
6 million.
60 million. We let in 1.2 million last year. Well, and there's a housing crisis, and prices are going through the roof, and no one can get a property. Young English people can't get on the property ladder, can't get a dentist appointment. People are pulling their own teeth out because they can't get a dentist appointment. So your family have paid into a system for generations after generations after generation. You've lived in the same family. Your family have died to save and protect this country, and then you're put.
And it's crazy because, you know, again, as somebody who used to be a liberal, we used to like say we need to have the same healthcare system that Canada and the UK have, but it's like they're having the same issues. Like you're pulling your own teeth out. You can't even get into a doctor for months and months and months. I agree, something needs to be done about the healthcare in the United States. We can't continue on like this. You shouldn't get sick and go bankrupt or have to choose between like living or being unalive. But like clearly this is not the answer either, especially when you are like importing other people from other countries and overwhelming the system that was already overwhelmed.
Second rate, and they're flooding the country. You're paying for it. You're struggling. You can't get a dentist appointment. There's so many problems. You can't even get your kid in the local school because they're all full of all the young Muslim kids that are getting brought in.
So would you say that the English people here in the United Kingdom are being replaced by the migrants?
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I get perfect notes from every meeting.
Not just English people, every one of our countries we're being replaced. The whole of Europe, you know, like people talk about the Great Replacement, yeah? And well, like we're saying, they're replacing us. There's a 177-page document from the United Nations on their plan to do this. This is planned, yeah?
And what benefits do the migrants get here once they arrive to the United Kingdom?
They get everything. They get houses. They get 3 meals a day. They get money. When I say they get 3 meals a day, you have got English old age pensioners who can't afford to turn their heating on. These lot are staying in 4-star hotels. You've got English people who are dying, starving, all these different things, living in poverty, and you've got hotels full. I'd say now this country, it's 1,000 years of English history here, 1,000 years. And within 2 or 3 generations, they've absolutely destroyed this nation, and they're giving it away.
Y'all, this is not good. This is not good. And let me click off of this, guys. Let me remember, I was like 8 minutes into this video. I'm going to come on tomorrow and we're going to talk about this topic again. I'm going to have to cut this live short because I do have to work in like 5 minutes. I have some classes to teach. What you say? Wow, I didn't know it was this bad in the UK, girl. It's terrible. The knife crimes are going up, the graping. They have like gang rapes of children going on, trafficking. Yes, it's very bad. Women are afraid to walk outside. They used to be able to walk outside alone at night. They can't do that anymore because they're getting dragged behind alleys and raped by these men that are being imported into the country. It's very bad. And I posed a question on my thumbnail and I said, you know, are we going to see the return of fascism here? And, you know, and when I talk about that, I'm talking about extreme nationalism, extreme xenophobia. When I think about fascism, I think about people hating people enough to want to cause physical harm to them. Think about Hitler and the Nazis. Think about Germany, right? And what I will say is I feel like this situation is getting so out of control that you will have people who literally stop caring how they get these people out of these countries. Just get them out. Because again, the situation that happened in Nazi Germany, I could give a whole history lesson on that. That didn't just happen because German people are hateful. Y'all have to remember, we had 2 world wars. And during that first war, we demilitarized them. They were poor and impoverished. They had to pay back the debt for World War I. They were basically taking it up the rear on a world stage. And that made these people angry enough to where finally, when Hitler came through with his concentration camps and final solutions, people didn't care. And this is not good. This is not good. And I feel like if this continues, this is going to usher us into World War III. So the government needs to act in the best interest of its people peacefully now while they can. Yeah, it's not good at all. So guys, I have to get off of here because I have a class, an English class that I have to teach. I will be coming on tomorrow night. We will continue the discussion. Also, for my ladies, I'm thinking about starting a Patreon for conservative, solution-oriented women who want to like get in shape, do makeup, like, you know, kind of live, I don't want to say a soft girl life, but just a more conservatively aligned but still fly life. I'm thinking about this. So if you're interested in that, let me know. With that said, it's been real. I will see you guys tomorrow. We will discuss this further. Thank y'all for showing up. Please hit the like on your way out. Goodbye.